You know how every baby feels different from the moment they arrive? Some are calm and observant, some wiggle and kick like tiny athletes, some light up with every new sound, and some get overwhelmed by the world just a little faster. Every baby comes with a temperament, their own built in starting point. But here's the part no one tells you. What you do in tiny, everyday moments actually shapes how that temperament grows, not in a vague parenting matters kind of way, but in a measurable brain level way. A group of researchers tested something extraordinary. They placed tiny EEG sensors on infants, real brain sensors, to watch how their emotional wiring developed across the entire first year of life. Not a survey, not an observation, actual brain activity. And what they found was stunning. When parents responded to their baby's signals in a warm, consistent, back and forth rhythm, the baby's brain developed stronger pathways for emotion regulation, stress recovery, and social connection. Even babies who came into the world more sensitive, more easily upset, more reactive, more overwhelmed by stimulation, showed healthier development because of these tiny interactions. Your voice, your timing, your attunement, they weren't just soothing in the moment, they were shaping the emotional architecture of your baby's brain. So today, we're breaking down exactly what the researchers discovered and how you can use it to support your baby's brain and strengthen their resilience across the very first year of life. Let's start with what the researchers were actually studying. They followed babies across their first 12 months and focused on two things: the baby's temperament, something they're born with, and the parent's responsive caregiving, the small, everyday moments when you notice your baby's cues and respond in a way that matches their needs. Some babies, right from birth, are more reactive. Their cries are sharper, their frustrations are louder, their emotions rise faster. This isn't a reflection of parenting, it's biological temperament, a sensitive nervous system, a different kind of wiring. But here's where the research becomes hopeful. These sensitive babies weren't destined for harder emotional development. Responsiveness, warm, tuned in, cue-based responding, acted like a protective shield, a resilience layer, a buffer between their sensitive wiring and the stress of the world. And the EEG data showed it. Infants who received more responsive interactions showed healthier electrical patterns in brain regions tied to emotion regulation and social development. This wasn't subtle, it was measurable, visible, concrete. So what does responsive caregiving actually look like? It's not about being perfect. It's not about getting it right every time. It's about the dance, the back and forth rhythm you build with your baby. Picture a simple moment. Your baby kicks their legs, looks toward you, and makes a soft sound. You look back, meet their eyes, smile, and make a soft sound in response. They widen their eyes. Maybe they squeal. You mirror that energy. They kick again. That's the dance. That's responsiveness. And in the brain, that tiny exchange is building networks that support understanding, connection, and emotional stability. Now picture a harder moment. Your baby's face turns red, their arms stiffen, they cry in that big full-body way, they're overwhelmed. You take a breath, slow your movements, soften your voice, and hold them in a way that matches the intensity but brings calm. You're not shutting the feelings down, you're guiding them through. This is also responsiveness. And according to the study, it's one of the most powerful things a parent can do for a baby's developing brain, especially for sensitive or reactive babies. Here's what makes this study so fascinating. Most research on infants relies on observation or parent questionnaires, but this team connected babies to EEG sensors to watch the electrical activity in their brains as they grew. They weren't guessing how emotions develop. They were measuring it. And the patterns were clear. Babies who experienced consistent responsiveness had brain activity that reflected better regulatory control, even when their temperament would have predicted more challenges. In other words, your responsiveness can rewrite the predictions temperament makes. Let's bring this into real life so you see how powerful and accessible this really is. Imagine your baby gets startled by a loud noise. They freeze, their eyes widen, their breathing jumps. You lean in, match their expression softly, and say, "That surprised you." Your tone is warm, Your rhythm is slow. You're in sync. This teaches your baby, my feelings make sense. I'm safe. Someone understands me. Those tiny emotional messages accumulate. They become brain architecture. They become emotional habits. They become resilience. Now think about feeding time. Your baby turns their head away. Not a rejection, a cue. You pause. Wait a moment. Try again gently. They return. They eat. A small moment, but a moment where your baby learns that their cues matter. The study found that this cue-respond dance was one of the strongest predictors of adaptive socio-emotional outcomes by 12 months. Babies who experienced more of this back and forth were more socially engaged, less overwhelmed by new experiences, and more capable of calming themselves. Now let's imagine playtime. Your baby bangs a toy, stops, looks at you as if asking, "Did you see that?" You respond with bright eyes and say, "You made a sound." They light up, they try again, you respond again. They're building confidence, they're building communication, they're building the foundations of social awareness. This is the emotional scaffolding the study measured. This is the beginning of resilience. Not at age 4 or 5, but in the first year. And here is the most hopeful part of all. You don't need to be perfect. The study didn't find that responsiveness must happen every moment, or that parents must be emotionally flawless. They found that the pattern mattered, the rhythm, the gentle repetition of noticing, responding, connecting. Just enough that your baby says, "I can trust this." Let's look at another moment that seems small, but matters enormously for your baby's long-term resilience. You're holding your baby as they try something new, a new texture, a new sound, a new face. They hesitate. Their eyebrows pull in. Their breath catches. They look at you. This look is not random. It's a question. They're asking, "Am I okay? Is this safe? How should I feel about this?" And you answer that question with your face before you ever say a word. Your calm expression, your steady voice, your warm presence. These are emotional cues your baby absorbs instantly. The researchers found that babies whose parents consistently offered this kind of emotional guidance showed healthier EEG patterns related to attention and regulation. Their brains literally processed the world more smoothly. That's the power of responsive presence. It helps your baby interpret the world without being overwhelmed by it. Now let's talk about one of the most misunderstood parts of infant temperament: how quickly babies recover from stress. Some babies snap back fast, some take their time, some struggle for a while before finding calm. But the study revealed something stunning. Babies who had difficulty recovering from stress early on were not stuck with that pattern. When their parents used warm, contingent responsiveness, especially during fussing, startles, or frustration, those babies developed stronger regulatory patterns by 12 months. Their brain activity looked healthier. Their emotional behavior looked smoother. In other words, stress recovery isn't just biological, it's relational. Imagine your baby trying tummy time. They grunt, they fuss, their arms shake. You move beside them and say softly, "You're working hard. I'm right here." Your presence helps them stay with the challenge for a few seconds longer, then a few seconds more. This isn't just encouragement, it's emotional co-regulation. And emotional co-regulation builds the early wiring for persistence, frustration, tolerance, and self-soothing. The EEG data supported this again and again. Responsive moments, even brief ones, helped babies' brains practice calming down, staying engaged, and coping with stimulation they once found overwhelming. Now, let's flip to a moment that almost every parent dreads: the overtired evening cry. That cry that starts small, then grows, then suddenly becomes everything. You rock, you bounce, you try different positions. Your baby continues to cry. Inside, your own emotions start rising too. And here's the most important part of this moment. Your baby isn't asking you to solve the cry. They're asking you to stay with them through it. The study found that babies who experience steady, responsive presence during distress, even distress that didn't resolve quickly, showed healthier emotional trajectories later in the year. Their brains learned, hard feelings don't make my parent disappear. That lesson becomes part of who they are. Their emotional resilience grows from being supported during the messy moments, not from avoiding them. Now consider another moment: transitions. Picking your baby up, putting them down, moving between activities, new environments. These transitions can be surprising for babies, and surprise often triggers reactivity. But responsiveness smooths the transition. You make eye contact. You narrate gently. We're going up. We're going to turn. We're going to try something new. This helps your baby anticipate change, a skill older children struggle with too. The study showed that babies who received this type of attuned guidance engaged more socially, showed fewer negative behaviors, and adapted better to new situations by the end of the first year. Responsiveness is not a technique. It's not a script. It's the ongoing relationship you build with your baby. It's a rhythm of noticing, responding, and repairing. And that rhythm is what gives your baby emotional footing as they grow. But here's something equally important. You won't always get it right. And you don't need to. There will be moments when you misread a cue. Moments when you're tired. Moments when you respond too fast or too slow or with the wrong energy. That's normal. That's human. The study wasn't measuring perfect parenting. It was measuring connected parenting. What matters is that after the moment, you return, you reconnect, you repair. A soft touch, a gentle word, a warm breath. These are the tiny repairs that help your baby feel secure. And security is one of the strongest predictors of resilience across childhood. Let's widen the lens. Your baby's first year is a time of breathtaking neural growth. Millions of connections form every minute. And these connections are shaped by experience, especially emotional experience. When your baby looks at you, cries for you, reaches for you, coos at you, their brain is opening a window for connection. Your responsiveness fills that window. And through that window, the architecture of resilience is built. By 12 months, babies whose parents consistently responded to their cues showed better emotion regulation, smoother stress recovery, stronger social engagement, healthier EEG patterns, more adaptive behaviors, even when they were born with temperamental challenges. Especially when they were born with temperamental challenges. Your baby's temperament is the starting point. Your responsiveness is the shaping force. And together, they determine how your baby's emotional brain grows. So here's the big idea, the heart of this entire study. Your baby's temperament is not their destiny. What you do in small, ordinary moments helps build the emotional strength they will carry for the rest of their lives. Tonight, pay attention to one cue. One moment of eye contact, one sound, one expression. Slow down for that moment. Answer it gently. Let your baby feel felt. These tiny interactions, the ones that last a few seconds, are the ones that shape their emotional world. If this helped, please like this video, subscribe for more research-backed parenting guidance, and share in the comments which moment you want to tune into tonight. You're doing so much more than you realize, and your baby feels that every single day.